Yes, guys, welcome back to the Cannon Podcast. And who wants to debate?
Me.
I want to debate. Let's debate, lads. You want to debate? We're debating today a bit of different content that normally could be behind the Patreon, but today we're going to give you an entire debate, right? And it's Arsenal's top 10 signings in the Emirates era. This is going to be feisty, and I'm sure. Oh, I've got a few surprises, so stay tuned for number one for me. But we're going to start off with number 10.
So are we doing it in
lads.
order? Is that how you guys have done it? Like your best being number one?
Yep.
Yeah, so we're gonna go through, just for listeners, we're gonna go through from 10 to 1. It's every player who was signed post the summer of including the summer of 2006 when Arsenal moved to the Emirates era. We're gonna form one list, but we're all gonna say and give our pitches for each slot. Here we go.
And because I feel like I struggled with this, not you guys, because you guys actually did your homework. For all those listeners, that's people like Adebayor, Walcott. They're not involved. Alex
they're not
Song,
involved.
that is pre Robin van Persie. That is pre. Yeah. So anybody that was
I absolutely guarantee someone will comment. Thierry Henry ?
Ooh.
Please look at the dates.
I mean, he's got.
They did sign again the Emirates, to be fair, so they could, yeah.
That's actually true. That's actually, maybe they'd be right.
Yeah, they could say that. Right, number 10. And look, I've gone safe at number 10, but it might be a bit rogue. I've gone for Sakri Banya, aka Bakary Sagna.
Mr. Dependable.
That is very early for me, for Bakary Sagna. He is way up my list.
Okay.
Way up. Way up. Look, if you look at that, so I think it was something like 7 million. Actually, I should get the transfers up. If that was something like 7 million.
Yeah, very cheap.
Mm-hmm.
And I appreciate, obviously inflation happens over time. How many years was he Mr. Dependable right back? He was never below, or very rarely below, a 6, 7 out of 10.
Yeah.
So important for us. Moved on to City, won Premier League titles. He's at that standard. He wasn't in an era where we were necessarily dominating anything. Yeah. But I think Sagna, in terms of value for the signing, I don't want to try and find out exactly how much it was.
Yeah, he is one of those bargains. It's a bit like Nacho Monreal, isn't it?
Yeah,
I'm not having him at number 10 though.
Ooh.
He's further up.
I don't mind, but I've got a list.
I have a player. I have a player that could go at number 10 that I absolutely love. It's Thomas Rosicky. I think, plagued by injuries.
He's not on my list.
The full potential. He's not on your list.
He's not on my list.
Not on your list, Bhavs.
He's not on my list.
6.8 million.
These young fans, George. These young fans.
Mate, that was a player. That boy had the potential to. We talk about Abu Dhabi,
yes.
Right? And when you do the injury lists, okay, Eduardo comes up, Ramsey comes up. I don't know why no one ever talks about Thomas Rosicky. That guy was probably one of my favorite prototype. If I had to build a George midfield that had to compromise a bit on some technical ability, the 5-yard burst, the central running power, the ball striking off both feet, the creativity. Legitimately, injuries were the only thing plaguing him. And I remember Marco Reus talking how he was his idol. I don't think people remember because he was just so in and out of the team. You would see spurts and then he was injured. You would see spurts and then he was injured. And I don't think we ever got a really sustained period, but he's one of those injury question marks for me that is like an out there. And for 6.8 million pounds?
Yeah.
God,
Alex, you got 10.
I've got the Sagna shout. Sagna was 9 million euros.
Yeah, cheap. That's why he's on my list, because of how dependable. With Rosicky, he was a very good player, but how dependable was he in terms of fitness and availability? He had a lot of injuries, and that came into. I'll put Sagna at 10, but wait, who have you got 10, Alex?
I've gone for Gabriel Magalhaes.
He's a lot higher on my list.
Fair enough.
Really?
I think he's 100% on the list. I've put him here because I think, firstly, at the minute, I would love someone to name me, I'm going to say 2 better left-footed centre-backs in the world right now who have shown the consistency that Gabriel has shown since 2020. I don't think you got it. And the names I have, like Pau Torres at Villa's probably coming to that level now, but I don't think you could have said up to now since 2020 has he been there. Gvardiol's still got to prove it in the league. Very talented young player, but I still, I think he's been played out of position. I don't think you can say he's showed the dominance as a left foot centre back. David Alaba, he's out injured at the minute, and he has been fantastic. But right now, is he better than Gabriel? He's literally unable to play, so I don't think you can say that. And then you start to go down the list and you go, who really is a better left-footed centre-back? And for the way Arteta plays, he's so important. The pickup in terms of the cost, by the way, in 2020 it goes down as a really underrated bit of business for 26 million euros for Gabriel. If you look at the development he's done, he's on my list. We can't sit here and say, like, spoiler,
You know what's tough?
Declan Rice isn't on my list. In 5 years' time, he may be
on your
my
list.
It's on my
but
list.
we've got enough sample of Gabriel now. We've got enough.
Okay, you know
sample
what?
of
This
Gabriel
is
to say
actually
it's
good because we're not too far into the video. I think we need to establish some rules because, like, for me, I would consider people like Declan Rice because I'm looking at potential and in terms of what I think he could be as well as what he is currently. And then you're going to have people like Sagna and like Monreal, by the way, who I think fall into similar-ish categories where, look, I rate Sagna much higher because I think the quality was better, but you're looking at reliable servant would oust quality talent than, let's say, Rosicky, who didn't play much. So, like, the rankings could change, but are we going based off available samples playing for Arsenal? Or are we going on quality, ceiling, potential, all those things?
I think we have to say future projection is part of it, but I would say what you've already done has to go in over that for me personally.
For
like
Arsenal,
future projection,
or just in your career as well?
For Arsenal, because it's the Emirates, it's signings for the Emirates era.
True.
And for us, so I don't think we can include West Ham, Rice's time at West Ham.
Okay,
but that's what I say. So for me, Gabriel's got enough sample to make it onto the list and say, yeah, we can start to say this is an extraordinary signing.
Gabriel
so
is a lot higher for me, a lot higher, and it's probably because of recent examples. Because I've seen him play the most week in, week out. I've seen him. Mikel Arteta as one of his first big signings, even before Thomas Partey. That was like, and the fact that it worked out so well as well. He's a lot higher for me. But I think let's compromise on a number 10. Let's come to a conclusion.
I don't hate the Rosicky shout because he's my number 9.
Okay.
I'll be happy to have him at number 10.
Now listen, I don't mind Thomas being on the list.
We can move this around later.
I don't mind it, but someone on my list is going to have to get out then.
Well, we'll see who's on the list, but you know what? Look, I think here, for me, Thomas Rosicky not just represented what he could do, what he did do in the time that he was there. I don't think there was a time that I saw a below 7 out of 10 performance from Thomas Rosicky. In fact, I would argue every minute he played, there were a lot more 9, 8 out of 10s, and then he would get injured. Like, I don't think even just the sample he showed, so it wasn't too much projection. And I know we're not doing previously, but, he made a name for himself. And just the deal, £6.8 million. He's going to be one of the cheaper deals that you're going to find on this list.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Thomas Rosicky makes it at number 10. Moving on to number 9.
We'll stick him in. I think we might
stick him in for now. We're probably going to flexible on a lot of things. I'm telling you, I'm not done with Rice.
Well, Rice is on mine, so we're gonna have to fight Alex off that one. Number 9. Now I've gone for our captain Martin Odegaard.
Wait, Odegaard at 9?
Yeah, I'll go for Odegaard.
He is higher on my list.
Ooh,
he's higher on my list.
But how much higher? Like, is it close enough, or is it very high?
No, I don't think it can be. 4 or 5. That's a lot. No, I don't know if I have that.
George, is he on your list?
He is on my list.
Okay.
But,
so is he slightly higher?
No, he's more like 8.
Yeah, well, that's slightly higher.
I'm being nitpicky. Yeah, it's slightly higher.
Definition of slightly higher.
Yeah, it's slightly higher. Right?
You know who I... Yeah, you know who I have. Look, I debated between him and Eduardo. Where the only reason is we all know the leg break. But the level he showed, I thought had more peak and for half the price that we've seen so far, led us to a title challenge. And I think it's really unfair to say that, it was his goals too. Look, that team was brilliant. But if you go back to that year, we aren't winning or getting anywhere near that title without him. And I just think he was robbed of a career. But you've got this really sharp, small sample of quality that in the time, he was probably one of the best strikers in the world. Like, there was only 2 or 3 outperforming him. Mm-hmm. And
I don't disagree with that, but I do think, again, sample has to come into it. And, there was a brief period where, you can say loads of players look really, really good or whatever. I think you have to look at their whole Arsenal career. How much did we sign Eduardo for?
£16.5 million.
Yeah, which, we're back in 2007, 8 now. And
that's quite a lot.
It's quite a lot. So I don't know. I really rated Eduardo, and I'm not saying he'd be sort of probably in my top 20. because he was a fantastic signing, and I think he did really, really well for us. But because of what happened,
Yeah.
he is capped, and that's that his career is capped, and it puts him further down for me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm okay to concede on Sample. It's just I had to put him out there because I thought
So shout.
he was one of the peaks, at least on the list. Like if I'm actually looking at peak quality,
Yeah.
and I'm looking at who here has shown the best world-class quality in terms of this top 10 list for a period of time, he's at least up there in my maybe 2 or 3 in terms of the pure
Maybe
quality. Now
we'll
the time
keep
wasn't
that
as long
for a future peak season debate. But for this one,
You think
Okay.
hang on. You think Eduardo had a top 2 or 3 peak at Arsenal?
at an Emirates era, in terms of some of the quality, mate, he was one of the strikers that led us to a title. If he hadn't got injured,
literally
he
a
was on
sell.
par.
Charge.
I'd be fascinated to know what people think of that.
Yeah.
Sanchez is probably the only one on
Ooh.
pure peak that I
No,
could
but-
really
What
argue
about
on
Van
output.
Persie?
Sanchez is the
Van
only
Persie.
one.
Yeah, Van Persie was another one.
Okay.
Yeah, but I mean, we can't do Van Persie because he's not. We
No,
signed
but I'm
him
talking
earlier,
about the
so
peak
he's not on the
seasons
list.
in the Emirates.
No,
era.
like the peak in the Emirates era.
Oh, in the Emirates era? Well, no. I mean, I think there's a
Okay.
couple more, but
Okay.
I don't think there's many more. He's not far off from top 5.
Yeah, no,
at
he's
least for
he's
me.
up there, but there's a
You've
few
got
names.
Adebayor, you've got
Yeah,
RVP, you've got Sanchez
Aubameyang
that
maybe
have
as well?
pure outputs. I would put the peak of Eduardo
Okay,
more. I think
okay.
Aubameyang for me showed pure output. Eduardo did do more than just pure
Okay.
output. If people
Right.
go back
Are
to
we
do
saying?
it. So,
I'm shocked by that take.
Yeah,
Are we saying just attackers?
Yeah, I think
are we
just
talking
attackers. He
just
means like goal
attackers?
scorers.
Well, I would think so, right? Or are we talking about full-on defenders as well? Like, what are you talking about?
Let's not
here?
get sidetracked. Let's finish on number 9 then.
Shocked by that
Now,
take.
now
George.
because Odegaard's for me 9 and George has got him at 8. Do we put Martin
Yeah,
Odegaard in there?
I'm okay.
We didn't talk about
I'm
much about
okay.
him, but I think the reason why for me he's in this list is because of the fact that Arsenal captain, but we signed him as a January opportunity. He wasn't actually like one of Mikel's main targets. Came in and he had a decent first half a season, but then he signed him, and since then I think
Well, last year was his first good season.
yeah, he's really
I would
improved
say.
since. Yeah, exactly. But to put that season in, and I think 15 non-penalty goals, joint record Kevin De Bruyne, and in his first proper full season when he's done that as a captain as well, he has to make the list. And he was in the current market as well, £30 million to Martin Odegaard. That is an absolute bargain.
It's a really good signing, and I think if we sold him today to PSG, you could get 100 million.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So
the right buyer, which is an
captain of the
incredible
club.
bit of profit.
There's one player that I would hope is a lot higher for us if we're talking midfielders and we're talking captain, Aaron Ramsey.
No,
if
he
we're
is.
talking that, so as long as we're okay with putting him higher, I'm okay with putting Martin Odegaard.
Let's leave Odegaard at
If
9.
the argument that Odegaard is higher,
Yeah,
then
let's
I'm ready to
leave
debate that.
Odegaard in 9. Lock that in. Martin Odegaard number 9, and Aaron Ramsey's my number 8 actually. So he is higher than him, but maybe not as high as George wants him.
I don't know about that. I think Aaron Ramsey for me is one of the few players that could argue for a legend. I don't think we
Yeah.
have a legend in the Emirates
Iconic
era.
moments.
It's not even just peak moments because he had that season where he
Yeah.
also argued and kind of reached the point tally. So if you're talking individual peak, he's got it. If you're talking leading us to trophies, he's got it. If you're talking a servant of the club, he's got it. If you're talking about pure quality on the day, I would argue Aaron Ramsey is one of those players that could play in multiple positions, never did more than just give his all for the club. So I have him as my 5th personally. He's one of the best servants of the club. And
You know
actually
what?
go back to me,
Yeah.
look at his price. Sorry, just to end, £5 million, guys.
Yeah.
You're not going to get a much smaller fee for the sample that we got out of him.
I'm going to put Ramsey a lot higher then, because my number 5 was Declan Rice, but I'm going to swap them around because now I'm thinking about it, it doesn't make as much sense. The reason I put Rice at 5 is because I'm thinking about like record signing. No one expected £100 million for us to ever spend that money, and we go and sign him, and he's been fantastic so far. But Ramsey's had those iconic moments. He deserves to be a lot higher on the list. So
I'd be okay with having. Sorry, actually, go ahead because I've talked. Go ahead, Alex.
I was just gonna say, I've got Ramsey at 7,
okay, it's not far off.
and I'm happy to take an 8 for Ramsey. I actually had him below Martin Odegaard, and I do back that because I think that the talent and I am projecting forward, and that's 100% a big part of that. But I do think when all is said and done, I think it will be the better signing. But I appreciate that we have to look at the sample we have. I put William Saliba in there at number 8.
It's not on my list.
I put William Saliba in there. I think again we are projecting forward, of course, but I've not seen a centre back like that at the club.
Mhm.
I've not seen a centre back that talented, and I think when Arsenal, I think, and part of it is the manner of the deal. Arsenal so rarely in our recent history go in and do that deal for the player that everyone in Europe is after. You hear Real Madrid are interested, Bayern Munich are interested, and we go in at 18 years old. We put down £30 million. We say we're putting our weight behind this guy. So I think the level of risk that was put forward there is part of this for me in terms of putting your money where your mouth is and saying and kind of putting your what on the table.
Yeah.
So I'm happy to have him higher, but I want William Saliba somewhere in the list. I don't think we can put him higher, which is why I wanted to mention him now.
Yeah.
Because I don't think he's in our top 5, but I want to put Saliba somewhere in here.
I'll put another name, and I'll just put this because I feel like there's people from this era that will be plagued with sample. We don't know what they're going to do. Okay. I had Martinelli in my list because I believe very much in the player, but also the fee that we got for him at £6 million. I had William Saliba as well, but they both fell in the youthful wow factor, world-class era. If I had to choose one, it's William Saliba. He's somebody that I think will redefine the center back position. Go that hard. I've been saying that for years. If we're going to pick somebody that I think we bought a youth, took a chance on, has become a key core to us today, but we also believe can go to any club in the world down the line, I'm willing to put William Saliba as the one, although I had to mention Gabriel Martinelli just because the fee was a third of the fee, purely not in quality.
Let's
I think
decide on number
Saliba
8.
will go farther.
Then
I had Martinelli much higher.
Okay, well, number 8 then, just to find us on that. We had Ramsey initially, but I think we should move him up, and I think we should put one of our newer players that are currently in the squad, whether it's Martinelli or Saliba. And I would put William Saliba at number 8.
I'm happy to take that.
I'm okay with that.
Okay.
Moving on to number 7. Now, this is one of my favourite Arsenal players of all time. Right? He was an absolute baller. 2-footed, diminutive, insane, I'd say. Santiago Cazorla.
Nazareth. Oh, you got him there.
I've got Santiago Cazorla at 7.
He's higher on my list.
I would love to put him higher, but it's just that the way it ended, it would have been so much better if he just, been able to get fit again and just, really got back into the Arsenal team. But the feeling watching Santi play, there's very few players was just that gave me that same feeling. It was just so good. So good. That performance against Man City at Etihad, playing as in a pivot, and he's like 5'5". It's crazy player.
No, he's potentially one of the most technical players in the Emirates era. I mean, you've got Fabregas. You look at somebody, the ability off both feet in the dribble, moving back deeper in an older age, but also operating higher. It's a joke to be able to take a corner kick with your right foot and then 10 seconds later say, "Oh, you want to switch? Okay, I'll take it off my left." It's a joke. I also never felt that he got the goal production that he actually should have. Just my personal, I thought he was so technical. He should have done a bit more for me in finishing actions, but he was just such a monster in terms of, I almost wonder if he had specialized deeper earlier, we look at him as a different player. Maybe he was misprofiled as that kind of diminutive number 10 in Spain, but I wonder if he played the more Coquelin complement earlier in his career, he gets a bigger projection.
Yeah. It's mad because imagine him next to Declan Rice.
God, he's higher for me in my list, which is why I would have Ramsey at 7. So we've got to get Ramsey in somewhere.
Would you not think Ramsey has a bigger legacy than Cazorla at Arsenal? That's why I'm arguing because of those iconic moments. And as great as I'd say Cazorla was the better player, but just the iconic moments that you have when you score the FA Cup winner, was it two FA Cup winners? That is a crazy legacy.
The problem for me is,
and a major season where he sets a record as a central midfield. Like, we're not just talking he was good and part of the team. He had a season where he was the guy and the best midfielder on the planet. So we had a peak.
I could have my arm twisted, but the reason I mentioned Santi is I think Santi's best moments, what Aaron Ramsey did, I think other players can do. Yeah. I think there's things that Santi Cazorla can do that like one or two other footballers can do. or could do at the time.
Yep.
And I also look at Santi came in and I think he did win a couple of FA Cups or whatever.
Yep,
and of course he didn't have those moments or whatever.
Oh, he did. He had
But
scored
Ramsey was
the
here.
goal against Hull, remember?
Sorry, he scored the free kick. Sorry, in the final, literally did have a big moment. So he scored that free kick to start the turnaround. And I think in a shorter space of time, Ramsey was here for a long time, And we look back and we remember the big moments and the FA Cup final goals and all those sorts of things, which are amazing. He should be on this list. But the reason for me that Cazorla edges it is he comes in 2013. He's gone three. Was it 3 years?
What is Aaron pre-leg break though? Pre-leg break, Aaron. What is he? And how many people have come back from that severe of a leg break to go on to reach a peak in the game that he did?
This is really a debate, isn't it? We can have a heated debate, lads.
I could argue during the Emirates era, Cazorla played more 7 out of 10s than Aaron Ramsey did.
I think this is what I'm trying. I think Ramsey maybe had bigger moments and will be maybe remembered as the better player for some people. But for me, because Cazorla could do things that Ramsey couldn't do, also had a big moment of his own in that same game. Also, maybe had a shorter period at the club and had an equitable impact.
Yeah, but then you could also argue that Cazorla's moment only matters because Ramsey scored that goal. Like if Ramsey don't score the winner against Hull, we don't talk about Cazorla moment. So I just think those two moments for me, and the price tag as well at that young age at 16 to come in and then go through the leg break and come back. And don't forget, after they came in from the leg break, there was rumours of, he wasn't playing well, loan him out to a different club kind of thing. And then he still poured it back and poured in 13, 14 season.
I still maintain there's not a single sample that I can think of. Maybe educate me again. I'm going back. Who has come back from a leg break like that to reach the status of the best midfielder in the world for a season? Not just the moments that he's had for Arsenal, but there was that 13-14 season that everybody agreed. Is there somebody that's done that before?
Can't think of it, man.
Possibly not. The only, and this, makes it a 95% achievement, not a 100% achievement. The only thing I'd say to that is it was very young when it happened, and Arsenal were investing in a very young team. So he had that time, but he still went and did it. I'm happy to have my arm twisted on this.
Yeah.
Are you saying
Santi 7?
Cazorla at 7, Ramsey at maybe 6?
Ooh. Because then you've also got to think, we've got, me and George have both got Declan Rice on his list, and I don't think, as great as a signing as he will be for sure, Santi and Ramsey have done a lot more.
Much more.
And they've got him. That. Yeah. Maybe what we do, as a number 7, we put Declan Rice.
Over Cazorla?
No, under Cazorla. And then put Cazorla.
Under Cazorla. And then Ramsey's going even higher.
Yep, and 5th. Okay.
Boys, I'm not having this.
Okay, then we have to sort Declan Rice out, because if we put him higher than that, it will be a disgrace. Because
let's debate Declan Rice. Okay. Let's debate Declan Rice.
Do we put Rice over Saliba though? Because if we got value for money.
Okay. You have to talk.
George's like, no, my boy.
No, the value, I don't think you can beat the value there. The thing is, though, I think that they both reach the same peak. Yep. So, for example, if I think that Saliba is somebody that can change what we define as a center back, I've said the same about Declan Rice in terms of his potential. And Declan Rice has shown more than William Saliba has shown to date as well. Mm-hmm. Have to say that. He's older, so he will show more. But he went for £105 million. It's like you've bought a marquee. You bought a world-class player that is world-class, that will be one of the best in the world.
I would actually put Saliba now at 7 and Rice at 8, because Saliba's done it at Arsenal for slightly longer as well, and the value for money at £30 million, which is a player that we know for a fact. Like Rice, we got a £100 million player and paid £100 million. Saliba is a £100 million centre back, and we didn't pay that. So for the value for the money, the potential, and how he changed, we talk about how Rice this year is helping Arsenal improve, but last year Saliba came to an Arsenal team that was fighting for top 4 and transformed into a title fighting team.
And he lost us the title too at the end of the day. You know what I mean?
It wasn't his fault. That's not his. Like he didn't.
No. I'm not saying it as a con. I'm saying it as a pro. Actually, like you've relied on him so much in his first season.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So
you lose him and you lose a title race.
I put Saliba above Rice.
I would be willing to do that. I would be willing to concede Declan.
Don't forget, George, your name was Saliba season. If you do not put Saliba higher than Rice, you're not living up to it.
Saliba's guarantee for me. I'm actually willing to not put Declan Rice. I have him in my list, but I'm willing to take him out of the list.
I feel Alex wants to do that.
Because of sample.
I just can't justify after 6 months,
Yep.
as good as he has been an £100 million player.
He's the best DM in the world. Or are we debating that right now?
Maybe
Different debate. Different
debate.
Is it though? Because I think it speaks to peak. Because the only reason I'll say this is, for example, Eduardo was a 6-month peak,
Yes.
quote unquote, and he was somebody that 16.5. It wasn't 105, but it was a big deal back then. Like, I don't think he was a cheap player.
No,
he was a pretty big marquee at the time. So if you're gonna do that in that way,
I think
I just can't get past the idea that we've spent £100 million on someone we're now trying to put in the top 6 or 7 of the Emirates era after 6 months. I can't.
Maybe
do that.
it's just that like, excitement he gave. That's what he is.
He could have been even better than he was, and I still. It's been 6 months.
I do hear that, and I'm willing to take him out.
That's why I'm willing to concede.
Yeah,
unlike taking him out of the list.
But then take him out of the list means that we've got someone that Alex has that we don't. And who's that player?
I don't know, because we haven't gone through the list.
Our current list. This is the current list. Cazorla. Sorry, we got number 10. We got Rosicky. At number 9, we got Odegaard. At number 8, we got Saliba. At number 7, we've got Santi Cazorla. We still need to put Ramsey in there somewhere because you boys wanted him.
Well, right next. I don't think it would be right after for me. Potentially 5th. I need to see who else is on your list.
I could do that.
Let's put Ramsey at 6 for now.
Okay. Santi at 7, Ramsey at 6. Okay, cool. We're up to 5th
because I've got somebody.
Cazorla at 7.
Cazorla at 7 and Rambo at 6. Number 5. Let's go for names.
You know what though? I just know because I know Alex has Bakary Sagna higher.
Sakari Banya is higher.
That's the one, by the way, that you have higher that we don't.
Ooh. Yep. But could you put Sagna over Ramsey and Santi? Sagna for me is like a top 8, like max. I don't think he gets higher than.
I'm going to make my claim later. I think he'll slot in somewhere and he'll push people down.
So you think Bakary Sagna is a top 5 Emirates era signing?
No. No, but I think he pushes someone out of that bottom.
Okay, maybe he gets in between. Right, so let's go number 5 then. George, who have you got number 5?
Koscielny. He, for me, is probably the best Emirates era center back, bar William Saliba.
Yep.
And even then, you cannot.
Imagine
I hate how it. Oh my God, stupid. And I think that if you actually have a look at it, he was somebody that was just so consistent and so undervalued. We were so bad as a team. He never got the props that he deserved. And every single big striker at the time referenced Laurent Koscielny as one of the toughest defenders that they ever faced. Mm-hmm. And because of how he left, it left a bad sour taste in a lot of people's mouths. But I think he was, £10 million, guys?
Yeah, very cheap. For some from Lorient, I'm pretty sure. So it was a bargain and he was consistent for sure. And I think Emirates
if we're talking defenders, there's no defender for me. If you're not saying talent because you're putting Saliba away, then Sagna, Monreal, whatever you want to put, I have Koscielny above that.
Koscielny's number 1 for sure. I've got the Gaffer.
As have I.
The Gaffer's at 5. And
are you doing it because of his managerial career?
It is though, because think about it. Do you think that Mikel Arteta ends up as Arsenal manager if we don't sign him in 2011?
Yeah, and I do think that's part of it, because if we just went, what did they do on the football pitch? Then you'd ignore transfer.
That's what I was doing.
Then you'd ignore prediction forward into the future. Then you can't ignore those. So I think you have to take everything into account and try and make sense of it. I put Arteta in there because he has become our manager. He wouldn't be in my top 10 if he just based on what he did on the football pitch, but I don't think that happens. He doesn't celebrate against us because he used to play for us. We're the only team. We clearly have a special place in his and his family's heart, and I think it's one of the most important. Certainly, 100%. You could argue it's maybe the most important signing of the Emirates era.
Yeah,
not the best.
Yeah, if you're going for if Mikel Arteta helps Arsenal win a league title or Champions League, he goes number 1 for me. Because him signing for Arsenal was a step to us winning a Champions League. That's how crazy it is.
Look, how I honestly feel on this, it definitely plays a factor.
Is he on your list?
He's not on my list because
he's not enough pace and power. I knew it.
No, it's just
no central running power. He said not
from a pure playing career. And look, for as much as we talk about the affinity that he's had, Arsenal took a big chance on Mikel Arteta as well. And look, obviously he's played for us, so then you have an affinity for it. But We've had tons of old ex-pros.
No, but he was good
have
in his
come.
first season as well. Let's not forget, like 11-12, he's come in. Ramsey,
He
Nasri's just
okay.
left. Fabregas
I
has
thought
just
he
left
did
as
his
well.
job. I thought he did his job. I don't know if he ever blew up trees. I thought he was a consistent player for us that
Yep.
came in, didn't pull up trees in any season. 7 out of 10.
I don't know whether Arsenal took a risk on him.
It
We
wasn't a
paid
risk. It
12
was a
million,
safe sign, I'd say.
and it was on
No,
deadline
not as a
day, and it was-
signing, as a manager. As a
Oh,
manager.
sorry. Yeah.
Okay.
As a manager, that's what I'm talking. That's what, like, when we're talking about, we have to attribute everything because he played here and the affinity that he had for us.
Yep.
I think there was a hell of a lot of risk and a hell of a lot of faith that Josh specifically had because he fought for him before Emery as well.
Mhm.
Like, the whole plan was to get him straight out as an assistant coach. Who in the world has done that and was doing that? There was a lot of stuff going on there. But look, if you guys are saying
Just
we're
out of the importance,
happy-
I'm sorry. I think he has to make the list because of how important that is. That could be one of the most, as Alex said, maybe the most important move in Arsenal's recent history.
Well, then if we're doing that, then he has to be a bit higher because, I mean, it depends on how high you think he's going to become
You
as a
don't want to
manager.
know where I put him initially.
Oh, God.
Bet you put him first.
I did.
The thing, I don't think we can put him in the top 5 best.
Literally on my
signings
list, it says number
because-
one.
God.
If we're
I think we
doing
can
it
say
and
significant.
if we've got Ramsey, Santi Cazorla, and we've got
Arteta.
players, he's got to go below these guys that have played for the club for me. He's
But
got
I'd
to.
argue some more important signing, so I'd put him higher.
But we're doing
I think number
best,
5.
and it's how do you
Yep.
define best?
But that best,
Well,
you
it
know,
does because then you're looking at the sample, right, guys? Like, I mean, look, for me, there's only so much potential, and I can think that he's going to become one of the best managers this club has ever seen, rivaling only Arsene Wenger. I can believe that, but also in the sample to date, in terms of what he's done to date, in addition to what he did as a playing career, it's difficult to put him above somebody like Aaron Ramsey
the thing is,
or
George,
even Santi.
this isn't a list of quality of the player. Because if it was top 10 Emirates players, he wouldn't be in the list. But signings come into like different factors. Sometimes it'll be the hype around the signing, like Mesut Ozil, or be the importance. And I think just because of how important it was, and also like it was a deadline day signing. If we don't sign Arteta at deadline day, we don't go for
So
him again.
where
in
are
the
we
future.
putting these 4 then in the ranking so I can put it in my head? Because we all agree that Laurent Koscielny has to be on the list. We all agree that Santi Cazorla, Aaron Ramsey, and Mikel Arteta then are on
Yep.
the list,
I would put
which I didn't have.
So
That's 4 places.
At the moment, we have potentially Arteta at 5, Ramsey at 6, Cazorla at 7, Saliba at 8, Odegaard at 9, Rosicky at 10.
So Koscielny at 4.
I mean,
He's higher for me. So
yeah. So I'd put Koscielny in 4th because of the fact that in current Emirates era, Saliba's only been here for 2 seasons. I'd say he's been our best centre back, and it was a cheap signing, as you said, and helped us win a few FA Cups as well. So he's got trophies in the bank. Yeah, I'd put Koscielny 4th. I'm happy with that.
let's put Mikel there for now.
Because Bakary Sanya's got to be top 3.
Yeah, I don't know about
Is he
Sanya,
top 3, Alex?
Sanya's
Should
the
we
one.
have
I,
that debate now?
What I'm saying is Sanya was higher for me, but I appreciate I'm probably gonna have to. I'm maybe higher on the player than other people were, and I loved him. He was always underrated. So I always
Was
like
it a
push
haircut?
for him. At the end, when we come back to it, and we're
Did you have the
assessing
haircut
this
as a
and
child, by the way?
finalising it, I did. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I have to
No.
bring it back.
I will advocate for him going in somewhere and maybe kicking someone off the list.
I was saying
Let's put
number
Arteta
10
in at number 5.
over Rosicky. I'd put Sanya just because of the fact that he was more sustainable.
Let's come back to it.
Okay,
Number
3.
4.
Oh, number 4. We put Koscielny. So number 3.
Number 4, we've got Koscielny.
Mm.
Number 3, boys.
I've gone Mesut Ozil. He's on your list, surely. Like, there's no way you've not put Mesut Ozil on your list.
He's not on my list.
Let me remind you, 2012
I think he should be.
deadline
I think he should
day.
be.
2012
be.
deadline day. The day before Arsene Wenger's gone, he smiled after we beaten Spurs in Northern Derby. And
2013 before the comments.
2013. No, it's 2012.
So-
no, I was right. It's 2012-13, I'm pretty sure. Was it?
So
Nah, you're right.
for
2013.
me,
My bad.
I'm gonna put this person up because look, Ozil's tough because he never achieved his level at
Yep.
Arsenal. And okay, he was a part of some success, but even his peak as a player never came with Arsenal. His peak always came with Madrid. If you're telling me, George, where do you rank Mesut Ozil as like the world? He's one of the best creators or playmakers that this sport has seen. But for me, his real peak was that last year at Wolfsburg and the first 2 years of Madrid. That was peak Mesut Ozil, and I don't know if there was a player that could live with him. At Arsenal, it's just a very different story. So if we're going to keep it consistent there,
a lot of it
I
comes
would have
down to
Nasri above
ooh.
Mesut Ozil in terms of what he's done. For as much as
I wouldn't put Nasri on his list. I wouldn't. I don't think. I don't think of Asante or because I'm looking at the midfielders.
Is Nasri in your top one or two?
Ramsey's not.
No, he was a lot lower. But the guys that were up top, we've already
because I don't think.
So
you see with Mikel
so
or
Nasri's
Ramsey,
not on the list at all.
Not for me.
Not for me.
Not for me. And I put him 10 over Rosicky maybe, but the players I'm talking about on this list, you look at Mikel Arteta, the importance of a signing. Ramsey's won the FA Cup for Arsenal. He's what scored the winners.
Not on the
Sané's
list.
won a few. Sami Nasri had some very good seasons at Arsenal, and the quality was amazing.
Elite seasons.
But
Elite seasons.
I don't know. I don't think he had that defining moment. Can you tell me that defining moment of Ramsey's Arsenal career? Nasri's Arsenal career. And I don't think he has. Mesut Ozil has. The day he signed was a defining moment.
He left because he didn't want to have the
and I think
moment.
obviously that stains it. It's like
he was one of the best. He was one of the
I wouldn't
best.
put. And if Nasri was on this list, he would be a
league.
lot lower, and he would definitely be below Santi and Ramsey because they've done more for the club.
I mean, sure.
I don't know.
He's not on the list.
For me, he'd be above Rosicky though for sure. I'd still put him above Rosicky, so he'd be in my top 10 maybe, but nowhere near top 3. No chance.
Ozil for me is lower on this list. He is on the list. I'd have him somewhere around 6, 7, or 8.
6, 7, or 8. So are we moving him below Santi at 7?
I would say
if you're gonna do it,
he's
quality
between
wise,
Ramsey and Cazorla.
As soon as you start those legends of Santi, Cazorla, Koscielny, and Ramsey, he's got to go below with Mikel Arteta as well.
In terms of individual peak season, though, the 15-16 season, we talked about, Ozil not peaking at Arsenal. That was a very good season. 19 assists.
It wasn't better than Ramsey's. 13-14.
Ramsey was good.
I think if you give Ozil a better striker.
Yeah, that Ozil that
year.
It
was better than Ramsey's 13-14.
Because let's not forget Ramsey, and it was unfortunate, but he got injured in that year as well, in 13-14, so he missed quite a bit of it.
He was already breaking records.
No, but they will both go. It's a good debate to have that. But I would put Mesut. But if we're changing Mesut because of the quality of the player, or sorry, his performances at Arsenal, then I don't
think of the fee, and also think of everything.
I think Santi didn't perform. Santi was more consistent than Mesut. Santi was more consistent than Mesut. This is tough. This is very tough.
His peak was way better.
Yeah. Ozil had a bigger peak for sure. Should we put Mesut Ozil under... But then that kicks out Rosicky out of 10, by the way.
I'm okay with that.
Okay. We'll put him under Aaron Ramsey and over Santi Cazorla.
Or maybe because we might see how we do with 1, 2, and 3. Because I've only got 2 names I want to put in there.
Okay, should we leave Ozil at 3 for now and just decide again?
Let's leave Ozil at 3 and then we'll come back to it.
Okay. Number 2.
I'm not happy with that.
No, we're going to change that. I'm telling anybody listening, Ozil's not staying at 3.
He's not staying at 3.
Number 2.
Not for me either.
We got Mesut. Ozil's in the back of the shirt, by the way, so he has to get in it. Number 2. I've gone for Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang.
Wow.
I'd love to know Alex's top 2 because
if it's not Aubameyang, there's something wrong. So you're telling me Aubameyang's not on your list?
Not on my list.
Wow. Wow.
He was £60 million. And
he was worth it.
He killed it. He was matching on Henry's
record. And he was worth it.
And,
okay, no, it's fine. We'll debate. I'll back Oba. Go on.
I look at Aubameyang's Arsenal career as a whole.
Yep.
And I think considering what we now know about the professionalism, considering what we now know about how he conducted himself, I've heard stories about things that he did, and I don't like it.
Okay.
And I think for the money that he paid us, yes, he won us that FA Cup and whatever, but I never felt he took a responsibility and accountability that at the time, being one of our most expensive signings, our highest paid player, our captain, he took responsibility in a football sense, but he downed tools for me too many times, fell off at the end, and had an amazing peak. But a lot of players have had an amazing peak. I think Alexis Sanchez is maybe unfair to get on this to not be on this list because he had an amazing peak.
Wait, Alexis is not on your list. Oh wait, what? Okay, now
Bro,
okay. So wait, 1 second. Just to clarify,
35 million pounds.
at number 3
from
we've got
Barca.
Mesut Ozil. So number 2 I have Aubameyang, and number 1 I've got Alexis.
Mhm.
Who is your number 1 and number 2, Alex?
My originally before
Yes.
this, my number 1 and 2 were Lauren Koscielny
Wow.
first
Wow.
and
That's
Gabriel
crazy.
Martinelli
That's
for
crazy.
£6 million.
Of course, massive bargain, but we've done it for a couple seasons. So again, to put him
Yeah,
in the
yeah,
top 3
I-
is a massive shout.
I'm
Koscielny at
Ha-
1 is
happy for the sample.
big.
I think for me,
And
when
no
you look
Alexis.
at
Wait,
best,
so Alexis is not on your list at all?
No,
he's close. There's a couple of like Mertesaker's close as well, but he probably wouldn't.
Alexis is
be
not
my
on your
list.
top 10 Emirates signings.
What did he? Okay, yeah, he. What did he achieve when he was at Arsenal? What happened?
No, I'm sorry.
Where did we go? We moved
You
from
could also
fourth to fourth.
No, but you could
He was
also
our best
argue.
player.
No,
But he was our
no,
best
no,
player in a
no,
period.
No, you're telling me top 10 signings Emirates
Alexis
era.
Sanchez was a fantastic player who we signed for a pretty good
World-class
price
player.
and had a world class player for 18 months. Where did Arsenal go? From fourth to fourth.
But you could
He
argue a
didn't
lot.
lift us anywhere.
What did Koscielny do
in
then?
this list? Who had the best peak
Yeah, Alexis
in
Sanchez.
their individual seasons?
That's a great question. You could say
Has to be
Ramsey.
Sanchez.
You could
It's
say
It's Alexis.
Sanchez. You could say Ozil at points. You could
Look,
say
We
I'd
signed a
probably
player.
say the
In terms of like Emirates era world class players, Alexis is one of the few players that enters the debate. The fact that we signed him for only £35 million, and to help out Mesut Ozil on top of that as well. And don't forget, he also had moments. FA Cup final against Aston Villa, the screamer.
no. Sanchez single-handedly
So
won
Alexis Sanchez
games
for me,
us
I mean,
more often.
not having it 1 or 2, I could hear the debate. Not having it in your top 10, that is scandalous, mate.
I just, for me personally, and you'll notice in my signings, when you sign someone for a good price and you expect them to do something and they do it, great. I'm not that bothered by it. When you sign someone for a low price, they come in, they exceed expectations, stay for a long time. That's what I'm interested. Alexis Sanchez, it's a good signing, but is it in the best? The point is the best signing, which is value for money or something you didn't expect out of the player or the time they spent at the club or whatever. I don't think, for me personally, and again, maybe Sanchez gets on at 9 or 10. I could be put in that camp. But if you sign the same thing with Rice, sign him for 100 million and he performs, yeah, I bloody hope so. I hope he's the best.
35 million pounds
Yeah, it
for
wasn't
me
that expensive back
says that I don't know.
Nearly 10 years ago now, and that would
It was
Well, that
it
would
was
be
not a
what,
record
60
signing. I think it was still
million
behind
pounds?
the
Yeah.
likes of Ozil and stuff. So
It was.
he has to be. For
Yeah.
me, he's number 1, and that's just because.
I don't know. Look, 35 million pounds
Number
buys
one
you.
signing.
Yes, number 1 signing.
Well, I don't know about number 1, but
Who's number 1 for you, George?
I debated between him and Martinelli, to be honest with you. And
To put Gabriel
the
1 in
biggest.
your top 3 is a massive shout.
Well, the thing is, it's the fee for me. That was.
Yep,
that was
it
gonna
is a
be the
bargain. You're
difference.
right.
Yeah.
Okay, we need to compromise, lads, because this will get out of hand. So as it stands, Mesut Ozil is still at number 3, and we'll change that. We need to decide
We've
on
gotta
number
change
2 and number 1. Now, Koscielny's already on the list at number 4. So now it gets down to you. None of you guys have put forward Alexis or Aubameyang, which is crazy to me.
No, I have.
Okay,
I have
so
Alexis
Aubameyang
in
is
mine.
there?
No, I have Alexis. I don't have Aubameyang in
Oh,
there.
wow. Wow, so Oba's only in my list.
Yeah, I don't
Wow.
have Oba primarily
Wow.
because look, he's 60 million. I think the argument that Alex has for Alexis Sanchez applies more to
Aubameyang.
Aubameyang than it does
Oh,
to
that's-
Alexis Sanchez.
I hear the
Because-
price tag. I hear the price tag that you should deliver at that price tag. But again,
If we were having a debate on the best players
Yeah, they'd be in the list.
of the Emirates era, they'd be top of my list.
I think
But we're
that's a
talking
lot
about
of.
the best signings.
that's how I-
That's the point.
I hear that.
And
Okay.
when it's 60, when you're paying and you're paying him 300 grand a week,
But you look at Alexis Sanchez though.
you had a good season. Well done.
He's had the peak moments. He was very consistent. He had the goals and assists, and he had the 2 FA Cup final goals as well.
Yeah.
He's had moments.
Okay.
If you're talking about just the
expect
list
from
of
a highest paid
categories,
player.
but he wasn't either like he was expensive at the time, but he wasn't like a record signing either. He didn't come in with the Declan Rice type of price tag, or that it was almost a surprise when he came into Arsenal, started performing at that level because he was a Barcelona reject at the time.
I'm more open to the Sanchez thing because he
Oh,
had a lower stock
Alexis on the list,
Sunday.
and I stay in number one. I keep him number one
Number one is crazy
because he
We're
was the
talking
best player in the Emirates era.
But we're not talking players. We're talking
Wait,
signing.
hold on,
He's a player
hold on,
we
Alex,
signed.
though, because the biggest thing that we're talking about is value, and I'm going to do this because I love the player. It's ironic because I don't know about the profile, but Aaron Ramsey for £5 million has to be in the conversation if we're talking value.
Yeah, I put Ramsey over Martinelli for sure.
Martinelli hasn't done it.
Yeah.
Right now, I love him and I love what he could be.
Yeah,
but
Ramsey's in my list.
No, he
But
is.
as I said before, it's the value over time. But
Okay.
he's in my list.
Let's end this on this. Finalize on number 3. Which, if it isn't Mesut Ozil, who would you go for?
Xhaka.
Xhaka.
Xhaka could.
You put Granit Xhaka at number 3. So that is the debate there and there. Thanks for watching. You put Granit Xhaka at number 3, George. That is scandalous. Scandalous.
No, I think he's had. We will look back on Granit Xhaka's career at Arsenal and say that he had one of the better consistencies than we've seen. I think he's got plagued by what happened to him.
Yeah.
And if we're talking about between Mesut Ozil and him, who contributed to more success to the club? I don't know what Mesut did. Equal?
I'd say equal.
Okay, yeah, great. So then look at the fees that are involved.
It was not far off. Xhaka's 35, Ozil's 32.
Well, 35, 42. I don't know. I think that
Xhaka
he
for
gave
me,
us more.
In terms of his best Arsenal year, was definitely, for me, was his last season. A lot of fans will often say Xhaka's only had 2, 3, or maybe 1, 2 good seasons in the Emirates era for sure. Very consistent player, and definitely underrated. If he was top 10 underrated players, he'd be there. But Xhaka are top 3. Xhaka at top 3 of a Santi, of a Ramsey,
no, I don't think
Saliba.
he's top 3. You put him a lot lower.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of my legends, like in terms of Koscielny, Ramsey, I would bump a lot higher.
Yeah.
Because when you start talking those ones.
So let's organize Ozil first. Ozil's at number 3. Where would you put Mesut Ozil?
No, he's got to be deeper for me.
I don't. Be low.
So is that between Ramsey, under 6, so 7 for Ozil, and then 8 for Santi?
For me, he's below Ramsey, above Cazorla.
Okay.
So that's between 6 and 7. So Cazorla would be bumped down.
Yeah, and then you took Rosicky out of it, and Odegaard goes 10.
Yeah.
Okay.
Took Rosicky out.
Okay, that's fine.
So Rosicki's now at number 11.
Yep.
We still. So this is the current list. We have Ozil at number 7. Sorry, Koscielny at number 4. Arteta at number 5. Ramsey number 6. Ozil number 7. Cazorla number 8. Saliba number 9. Odegaard number 10.
Yeah. 1 and 2 to be taken, and 3 as well. So who is your third then? It's not Xhaka. No way.
For me, so just to say, like my top 5, have a listen to this, was Koscielny, Martinelli, Sagna, Cazorla, Odegaard. What you'll notice is none of those are above 30 million.
Yep.
Because for me, value in a signing and getting something out of a player you didn't know was there is way more important. Which is when we talk about best signings. That's my
for
point.
me, you can't have a top 3 that you put somebody like Martinelli, who is one of the best value signings that we've done, above the same fee for somebody that has done 10 times more for the club.
But I think it's 6 million in 2020 is very different to 6 million in whatever we played that for Koscielny.
I mean, sure, maybe it's 15 million, but Aaron Ramsey was a chance.
And I'd also sign
top prospect. United wanted him, but it wasn't like he was huge money in that time.
Okay, look, what I will say is Alexis is in 2 people's list. Mine's and George's. George, where was he for you?
Look, I didn't have him top 3. I had him about 4.
So
but I didn't have Mikel. So
do we put Alexis at 3rd? Which is still crazy to me, but Alexis in 3rd, because I think I still think he's a better signing than most of the people on the list. Just for the quality of player.
That.
Come on, surely.
I agree with that.
He can't be above Koscielny.
So you're willing to put?
Arteta,
would you put Koscielny 3rd, Arteta in 4th, and then Sanchez in 5th?
I could compromise on that. I still think.
Okay, just for the purpose of the video, even though I disagree,
I could compromise on that.
We'll do that for now.
I could compromise on that.
We'll do that for now.
I need to sort though. So then, who's number 1?
And then we'll get to that. Right, Alexis in 5th. That's crazy. Now Mikel Arteta's in 4th and Koscielny's in 3rd. We now top 2 to decide. Now, if Aubameyang's not in either of your list, means that he can't be number 2. Who is the number 2s then?
I don't know. We've moved stuff around so much right now.
Yeah.
Who?
So the current list for listeners,
We've got the list.
we've got a gap in 1 and 2. We've got Koscielny in 3rd, Arteta in 4th, Sanchez in 5th, Ramsey in 6th, Ozil in 7th, Cazorla in 8th, Saliba in 9th, Odegaard in
The players that we've named that not on the list so far is Gabriel Martinelli. So do we put...
Martinelli and Sanya are the 2 probably.
There's no way 2 people that I had in 9 and 10 end up first and second. To be fair though, value for money.
Sanya, I can't put
value for money
in there.
I'm willing to put Koscielny higher, like Alex has had. Not number 1,
Sure.
maybe number 2.
It's Ramsey and Coast that have to be the ones that bump up.
Yeah, if we're putting 100%. If we're going on the list of value for money signings, then Aaron Ramsey has to be a lot higher than 6 because he had the value for money, he had the peak season and the individual moments that I think no one else on the list. Yep, no one else on the list even has. That those moments of 2 FA Cup winning goals.
There is, I would argue, Aaron Ramsey, and I can't believe I'm doing this, but like, there is no metric that you can say he didn't have. Peak season, that he's one of the best in his positions, check. Responsible for winning trophies in the Emirates era, check. Returning in terms of sample, one of the longest samples in the team, check. £5 million value for money, check.
Yeah,
struggle.
My only caveat is he was there for 11 years.
Yep, he was.
Well, he had a big leg break.
And
you know, he
here's my
snapped his leg
compromise then. I'm willing to take Ramsey from 5th to 1st because he meets the value of value for money. He has the most iconic moments in the Emirates era, and I'd argue, apart from the Mikel Arteta signing, the most important moment in that trophy drought in 2014. He was a bargain. He was consistent. He had a peak season, and he had individual moments. He's got everything covered.
That's what I mean.
And if you're going to put Koscielny in 1st, I put Ramsey above him. So that for me, that's why I put. If Koscielny is number 2, because he was consistent, but he had no real standout moments like that. Ramsey had those moments, and he's also a bargain. So I'd put that Ramsey at 1. If we're going off that, my number 1 original was Alexis Sanchez, and I'm sure the comments will agree, by the way. Yeah. So roast these 2.
No, look. The weird one's going to be Sanchez, Bhavs, because if we're talking 1 and 2 and we're talking value has to come into it, then those 2 legends of the club have to go higher.
Yeah,
for me, they've got it all. But
so this is the list
where you put Sanchez.
Yeah,
that's where the issue is.
If we do put Ramsey at 1st and Koscielny at 2nd, we could put Martinelli in 3rd because of the value for money. Again, because £6 million in the current market is insane. That is insane. That's like go back to 2000 and it's like a £1 million signing in 2005.
Yeah, it's like an Adebayor.
Yeah, that's a really cheap signing. And so 100%. And how much would you have to always argue how much Martinelli cost in the current market if he was available right now? And it'd be a lot more than,
of course, 100 million.
Exactly. So
yeah,
I can hear the value for money part of it. And I could do Mikel Arteta at 4th for sure, because of the importance. Sanchez at 5th. We could put Sanya in 6th and put Ozil down 7th. Because Sanya then I don't think he enters top 3.
What about Cazorla?
Cazorla's down in 8th. You got Saliba at 9th and Odegaard at 10th. We have to end this at one point, lads. We can't keep going for 3 hours.
Might have to.
So
Martinelli has to be in my top 3.
Okay, so then that's why I think what we have a compromise here, and I think this should be the final list. You can change it if you want, and the comments can debate it. That's part of the debate. We've gone at number 10, Martin Odegaard. Number 9, William Saliba. Number 8, Santi Cazorla. 7, Mesut Ozil. 6, Bakary Sanya. 5, Alexis Sanchez. 4, Mikel Arteta. 3, Gabriel Martinelli. 2, Laurent Koscielny. And 1, Aaron Ramsey.
So no space for Aubameyang.
I would have put him on the list. I would have. I wanted to take out one of the current Arsenal players to put Aubameyang on that list. But
who would you put him out instead of?
I put him for Odegaard.
Because I think the debate's between Ozil instead of Martin Odegaard.
At number 10. For me, he's a lot higher, but because of the way we've worked this list, it doesn't make sense anymore. So, I reckon my number 1 and 2 was always Aubameyang and Ozil. And Alexis. But obviously, we have different opinions on top signings. Let's leave it at that. And the comments will definitely roast us. All of us. I don't know.
You've convinced. So I had Ramsey at 7. You've convinced me you should go higher. I still think.
Do you want to swap Koscielny and Ramsey around?
I will fight that.
Yeah, I would fight that.
I will fight that.
Look, at one point we're gonna have to end this video, right?
No, we got a good 5 minutes. We got a good 5 minutes.
We're going to go
this.
to an hour. Now, I honestly feel like there's no point in debating it, because if we're going to put Koscielny in number 2, Ramsey has a bigger legacy at Arsenal, and he's just the value for money thing is still there as well. So there's no argument you could put forward to me that will put Ramsey below Koscielny. No argument whatsoever.
I know what you mean, and I think, yeah, by the way we've sorted it, it does make sense. But then,
Alex,
is Aaron Ramsey the best signing of the Emirates era?
And I went through the basis of it. He's got everything covered. There's not a single thing you can't say he hasn't. He's got that peak season where he scored all those goals and had those moments.
That's what I mean.
He had the 2 FA Cup winning goals. Not just one, by the way. The one was amazing in the first place. To then do it again in 2016-17. Wenger's last ever trophy, by the way. That was a goal.
He's the one. He is the one that is responsible for winning the most in the Emirates era.
And they're important moments, by the way. We can't disregard those, because we talk about the FA Cup like it's nothing, but those moments are massive. That 2014 drought, it was a big deal at the time. To score the winning goal against Hull.
And I'm just thinking, individually, it's not even just a case that he was a passenger on a good team that won. And it wasn't just like he only performed in those finals.
Yeah.
Again, he had a peak season and he was one of the best midfielders in the world.
Yeah.
In 13-14.
He gets above Koscielny, and Koscielny's number 2, then Ramsey's number 1. That's the list, lads. That is the list. And no more.
There and there.
That is it, there and there. I have spoken, and it's over. Alex can remain fuming.
Thoughts.
Alex remain fuming. But yeah, that's the final list. Ramsey at first, Koscielny at 2.
Koscielny saved us so much.
He did. But he was also very injury prone. Let's not forget that as well. So it was like just how Ramsey had injuries, so did Koscielny. So this is the final list. Ramsey at first, Koscielny 2, Martinelli 3, Arteta 4, Sanchez 5, Sanya 6, Ozil 7, Santi 8, Saliba 9, Odegaard 10. That is the debate. There. George, Alex, meet yourselves right now. Let the people talk in the comments. And if you want to see more debates, let us know some topics down below, and we shall debate again. But that is the top 10 signings. Roast us away in the comments. Peace.